Hello, Minecrafters and Redstoners. I'm Natanis Likens. How's everybody doing today? So we are starting off today in our Redstone testing world, or our creative testing world, however you want to say that. And we're here for a reason, because, we got done with a few other Redstone videos. I made one buildy video, and then I put a poll out there asking, like, what do you guys prefer? Do you prefer me making redstone videos or do you prefer me making buildy videos? And it was absolutely unanimous. You prefer my redstone. Okay, that's weird. So, with that being said, I was like, yeah, okay, we need a new redstone project so I can make a video on it. And here we are. What was the project? Well, I took to r/technical Minecraft. And I was like, hey, I've built this, this, and this, and what should I do next? And a comment popped up that they wanted to see a redstone contraption that after 4 clicks from an observer, they would push a piston, specifically for a Amethyst Farm. 4 clicks. That sounds familiar, and that's exactly why I am standing here, or floating here if you prefer, in front of my copper farm, because that's exactly what this does. 4 clicks and then it pushes everything. So it pushes this piston and everything. So I needed that portion of the redstone to try and work this out a little bit. And I've gone all the way already. I've already done this. And yeah, it works. Ignore that. We'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, this absolutely does work. It is a little bit small, and because of how Amethyst Geode spawn and everything, you wouldn't be able to use this. We'll dive into that in a little bit. But let's talk about exactly what's going on here. So we got an observer here. Probably not the best spot for it, but that's just where I decided to put it. We're just messing around with it. We got the crystals growing over here. I actually placed all these so that you can see them. And that is effectively how we are going to measure the growth of these shards. The only problem with this is we can only really grow or we can only track the growth of one shard at a time from a given system like this, and that is because of how you collect all of the shards. Like, getting amethyst is a little bit more annoying than any other thing, because of these little shards here. They got all these different points, so there's 6 points total, all 6 sides of the block, that you've got to break and collect the amethyst. Well, that just because you're breaking all those doesn't mean all of them are growing. So, yeah, you may be breaking stuff way too soon, or, you know, just not breaking it at all. It just depends. We'll get into that, because when I came back and I was looking at this, I realized that, oh, this is about to trigger, and only one shard has grown. All the others are just going to be waste. So yeah, you can only really track one at a time. We could do this on multiple pieces, and hopefully that would keep the system from breaking, but you're still really only going to be able to track one particular shard at a time because of how we need to break these. You can't break the block, because if you break the block, you're not going to grow any crystals. It has to grow on this particular block right here, the one that looks like it's got an X on it. So in order to do that, you need flying machines. Ignore the fact that that one's on the ground. Technically, I should have put that one up there. I didn't realize this until after, but this is all just a test, because in theory, I had an idea of how this works and everything. So yeah, we're just going to go into it from there. So we got the same setup going on, only there's an extra block here. I have an idea for that I haven't done anything with yet, but just know that there's a reason that block's there. I haven't done that quite yet. So the observer is going to observe the growth of the crystal, and it's going to go into this little system right here. You've seen this before. I demonstrated this with the copper aging machine. So you got a dropper right there that is pushing its items up into this hopper, which is going into this barrel, which has a hopper underneath it that's pushing it back into the dropper. Right now, this hopper is locked, so it is not going to drop, or it's not going to suck any of whatever item we are using out of this barrel. Right now, we're using the spoons. The spoons? Yeah, we're using the spoons. We're using the spoons again just to kind of simulate that. There is only one in here instead of all four of them being in here. That's because we're going to, just to give you an example, we're going to place this one here, which is going to cause one of those to go. We're going to break it, and then it's going to cause another one to go. Then we're going to place it again, which is going to cause the last spoon to go, and activate the entire farm so that you can see exactly what's going on with this. So let's go ahead and do that. And then I will go over exactly what's going on with all this nonsense because it's pretty simple actually. So we're going to place that. You're going to see that we're down to 2 spoons. We're going to break it. You're going to see that we're down to 1. And we're going to place it. And you're going to watch this flying machine take off. It's going to send those shards flying. You would have some kind of collection system down there. This one should have been up at the top going down, but I didn't think about it when I built it. So right now it's got a little bit of a problem of shards getting stuck right there. Don't worry about that. I'm just showing proof of concept here that it does work, and it is. It's interesting. It's a very weird system. It's very different from anything I've ever built. This is the first time for me making a farm like this. So now that that's all done, we're waiting for this to reset right here. It does take a minute because all of this here, all these slime balls and everything are going to be going back and forth, and that is what that is about over there. We'll talk about that here in a second. So what is going on? Well, basically the same thing's going on here that's going on over there. We are taking a signal out of this dropper, and we're looking for when this dropper is empty, not when it's got items in it. We want to see the signal when it's empty, which is going into this block right here with that comparator, which is going into a torch. So this is going to keep the torch off. Now, one of the little problems that I had was the flying machines kept going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and I couldn't figure out why. Eventually, I came across the idea that, hey, I need to turn this signal off after the flying machine has left. So we've got a little delay timer here that's going to send a pulse through. So when that torch gets turned back on, it's going to send a signal here through this redstone into this comparator. This comparator is going to say, hey, that signal coming from back there is stronger than this signal, so I'm going to push my signal on through. Meanwhile, this redstone is going to activate this line. This is on 4-tick delay, so we got a 12-tick delay right here where it's going to push a signal into here. And once it gets to the comparator, it's going to shut off the signal coming from here because this is going to be a signal strength of 4. That's going to be a signal strength of 2, which is actually not correct. The point is that this signal is going to be stronger than this signal. So the signal coming here is going to be stronger. It should be a 14 actually, because that would be 15. This would be 14. This one, I'm not exactly sure. I think that's probably going to be 15, 14, 13, 12. So that signal is going to overpower this one and turn it off. Make sense? Okay, let's move on. So from there, it's going to go into this repeater. This repeater is going to push its signal through to these areas. Mostly because once it comes out of this, I'm not really sure what the strength is, so I want to make sure that it is strong enough that it's going to reach around the corner over here. It should without that, but we're just going to use a comparator there, or a repeater there anyway, just to guarantee that it's going through. So it's going to go through and activate this redstone line, which is coming up into here. All it's going to do is activate this observer. This observer is what's going to activate the flying machine and send it going across this way. That's literally all that redstone is there for. This observer we'll talk about in a few minutes, but for now we'll talk about this. So the flying machine goes across here. It's going to break all of the crystals on this axis. I'm not putting that one right there because that's just going to cause issues. So Actually, let's just go ahead. We can do this. So it's going to break those four right there as it's flying across, which is right now going to collect right there because we got this giant wall there. There is a chance that some of this could be lost as it is in its current state. Uh, again, this was all just for testing purposes to make sure that I understand the principles and everything before we build a real farm. And even at that, when we do go about building the real farm, I want to be perfectly clear that this farm is not going to be identical for every single person. You are going to have to set this up by yourself in a way that it will clear out all the crystals on a block. I'm going to give you some guidelines on how to do that, but just know that it's not going to be the same for everybody because geodes they 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 generate randomly, so you're not going to be able to have exactly the same setup for every single one of them. All the redstone behind the scenes, though, that's a little bit different. As far as the flying machines and all that, it's going to be up to exactly how yours is. Anyway, so this is going to fly across. It's going to break all of these crystals on that axis right there. So once it gets here, this observer here is going to detect that the flying machine has come over here. It's going to push a signal down this redstone line, okay? Basically, what is happening here is that redstone signal is going to come down here, letting us know that the flying machine has reached its final destination. So now we can send the other flying machine. And that's going to be this one here. Again, I should have built it up there. We're kind of doing this a little bit backwards, but that's fine. So same thing, this redstone is going to activate right here. That observer is going to see that and it's going to go shooting off and away and up here. Now, as far as this is concerned right here, this observer here is absolutely useless. We don't need that. I put it there because I was trying to do something with it and forgot about it. So we're just going to move on from there. It's going to fly up to here and it's going to hit that observer right there, which is going to do the exact same thing. It's going to push its signal through and it's going to go down. Yeah. So this observer is going to push its signal through here, go down to here, and that observer over there is going to be lined up with this redstone line. So it's going to detect that it is on and cause it to go flying off. I don't know why this hole's here. We can just go ahead and plug that up. Doesn't need to be there. So once the flying machine is sent off and back over here, that's when this observer comes into play. It's going to push its signal all the way through these and into these repeaters and over here into this trap door. That is what's going to activate that guy to send it back to its starting location, okay? Trying to remember all that all at once tripped me up a little bit. So that is how the flying machine goes across, and that one comes up, and then that one goes back to its home location, and then this one goes back down. We didn't have to do it that way. I just felt like doing it. Whatever. So all that's done and said. In the meantime, we got a little hopper clock going on over here. And that is part of why this setup is going on over here, because there's a little detail about hopper clocks and signals coming out of hoppers that I've been told wrong for a very, very long time watching YouTubers. There's some incorrect information that I'm going to pass along to you guys that is actually like we're going to sort this mess. Something I did not realize for like the longest time. Anyway, so at the beginning of this, it's going to push this redstone block over to this side, allowing all of these slime balls to flow across to this side. So you will see that we got a stack and 51. This is to give all of the flying machines enough time to go back and forth across its home station. Again, when you go to set up yours, it may end up being slightly different. You're going to have to figure out the timing on that yourself. This is just for my test subject here. It ended up being a stack and 51. So once it gets to once the 64 and the 51 get to this side into this hopper, it's going to send a signal all the way through. Until it does, the redstone signal is not going to reach this spot right here, which activates that repeater. Once that's activated, it's going to push the signal through here. We got a little bit more delay going on here because we do need it long enough for this system over here to activate. Okay. Once that happens, this piston's going to fire. It's going to push the block across, and the slime balls are going to go back into this hopper. And because of that, this signal is going to dissipate down here, which is going to cause this piston to retract. Now then, while this one has slime balls in it, we are pushing a signal into this block right here, and this block has a redstone torch right there. When that is deactivated, meaning that the slime balls are over into this hopper over here, this redstone torch is going to activate. And it's going to activate this block right here, which, because of its proximity to this redstone, is going to activate this redstone. We got more delay going on here, simply to make sure that we have enough delay going on to cause the effect that we need. The effect that we need is we need the 4 spoons to go back into the dropper. So it doesn't really matter how many of those there are. You can make the delay as long as you want, but the point is that you need the delay to be long enough for all 4 shovels, not spoons, to go into the dropper. So when its signal goes all the way through, it's going to turn off this redstone torch, which is going to free up this hopper. It's going to allow this to be powered again, or depowered, or however you want to look at that, because right now the hopper is turned off because of that torch. When the torch is turned off, that hopper is turned back on, allowing it to flow again. So let's demonstrate this again, because that is a mouthful, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put some on here, and that's growing a little bitty one. We're going to leave that to show you just what is happening with that, and we'll go ahead and do this. So we got 2 in there, so 1 and 2, and this should all activate. You'll see that those get knocked off over there. We did have 1 go flying over, but that's fine. Because of the way I've set this up, it's not that big of a deal. You can see that that flying machine has gone through. It broke this one, but there was no shard produced. It does have some shards there. Again, that is a small problem that, because I built this backwards, it's not going to matter. Again, for the 100th time, that's like proof of concept. Like, I wanted to make sure I could get this to work. So now that we've shown this, I am going to have to generate a new world. I'm going to have to go off and find a geode, and then we're going to build one there for real to show you like all the little variations that you're going to have to do, all the little nuances in order to get a amethyst shard farm actually going. So I will see you guys back in a little bit. I'm going to go off and I'm going to do that now. So bye. Alright, so new world generated and everything. I'm ready to tackle this. I think I'm going to go with this geode right here. There's a few of them around. You got one over there. It's got some lava around it, which is going to be not really annoying. It's just not going to be ideal for like clearing it out and everything. It's going to take a little bit longer with that one. And then there is another one over here, which I feel's got probably a similar problem. I don't know how close we are to bedrock right now because I'm not looking at it, so we're just going to go with this guy. Give me a few more minutes and we will come back to you with this thing completely cleared out, and then I will do an actual time lapse of building out a redstone farm for amethyst. Alrighty, I have gotten this cleared out and everything, and if you want to like go along with me as we do this, I would recommend pausing right now and clearing out the area around your geode. What I am going to recommend is a square of about 49 by 49. So from your furthest out blocks, you want to go about 7 from those. This is going to give us some space to have the flying machines in there and then also put all the redstone in that we need. So 49 by 49 is the area that I recommend, and the ceiling of it we're gonna need a little bit extra room at some point, so I do recommend probably going about 7 above and then maybe 5 or 6 below. So possibly making another like probably a 50 tall ceiling is probably a good bet. That'll give you an area for collection below and an area above for all the extra redstone that we are going to need once we get to that part. So for now, go ahead, pause, and then we'll get back to it. Yep, you're good. Go ahead and pause. You can pause. Yeah, I don't mind. Go ahead, pause. Okay. Did you pause? Are we gonna continue on? Okay. So if you're continuing on with me, you're going to set yours up very differently from mine. What I recommend doing as far as your observer to detect the growth of the crystals, just find a decent spot, one that's not going to get hit by any of the flying machines. And then also bear in mind that wherever you put it, you're not going to be able to use flying machines in the vicinity of that. One thing I will recommend is for all your redstone up here, I would go ahead and put that on obsidian. That way it's not going to get moved around by the flying machines or anything. Just keep in mind where the flying machine is going and where your redstone is. First and foremost, you're going to have to make an outline of exactly where the flying machine can and cannot go. All of these blocks represent a spot that it can knock off shards. You're just going to have to take the time to go through and like arrange that and everything, and hopefully you got it all right. We're going to test that before we get the machine up and running completely to begin with. So for now, this is what you're going to have, and we are going to need a few different blocks. We're going to need sticky pistons. Let's go ahead and get rid of this. So sticky pistons, you are going to need the observers and the slime blocks and the honey blocks. That is what you're going to need. The first problem is figuring out exactly where this stuff needs to go, and you're going to have to line it up based on all of your blocks on where you think you need to knock out uh, shards. So you will notice that I've left a one wide gap. That is because we are going to be building the flying machine against the wall and putting all of our slime and honey blocks behind where I've got this diorite. So it's just going to be a mess of redstone that we are going to have to do here. So we're just going to have to play around with this and try and configure it. Again, because the geode that you're looking at is going to be very different from mine. Your setup is going to be very different. So I'm going to do a little bit of a time lapse here and try to build out this first section. I haven't planned any of it other than saying that, hey, I can go here, and I can go here, and here. That's all done. Now I've just got to figure out, like, where is all the slime and honey need to go. We're going to do, like, a small section of this, and then, you just follow along the time lapse and everything. We'll do the other sections after we're done with this because we may have to do like 3 or 4 sections and an unknown amount of flying machines. It's going to be a lot. All right, from that last clip, you kind of saw that we had to go through the process of testing it and everything and building out all the slime block machines and everything. We did have a few errors and everything, and I managed to fix those. Hopefully, everything goes a little bit smoother. I've already started working on the next section. So we got that one that is going across this way, and then I'm going to do one that is going from this side of the wall to this back side of the wall. You are very close to my face. Sorry about that. So we're working on that right now. And then after I get done with that, we're going to have to do a section that goes from the ceiling down because we're not going to be able to get everything. And hopefully we'll get a better idea of what it is we still need to hit. And yeah, let's just get on with it from there and finish out the next section. So yeah, let's start another time lapse. Houston, we have a problem. So yeah, we had a catastrophic failure, and let's talk about why that happened. Because I'm an idiot. I'm a complete idiot. That is my own fault that happened. So why that happened? Okay, so as you know, like each one of these sets of flying machines goes in an order. We got this one, I believe, is the one that goes first. So it's one goes over here, it triggers this observer, which then sends a signal back around to this side, which sends this side. So this is side number 2. Side number 2 goes off. It's supposed to come over here. And then when side number 2 goes, there's an observer over there, or actually a set of them, that activates this line here, which comes up to the top, sending the top. That's the problem. Side number 2 activates, sending side number 3. Because I was sending side number 3 down and then immediately sending side number 3 back up, when side number 2 triggers to go back over to the side, it's then triggering side number 3 again to go down. So yeah, we're triggering the side way too soon. So that's why they collided, and now I'm going to have to go back and watch the footage and fix all of this. Yeah, give me a few minutes because that's going to take a while. Alrighty, after a lot of frustration because I kept breaking the machine on my own, it's ready. So let's go over this a little bit and talk about it. So we've got my own version of the counter right here. So this is going to count the number of times that we see a crystal grow. Right now, it's only got 3 shovels in there, or spoons, whichever you prefer to call it. One of them is up here. That is because as I've been testing and everything, things have been growing and everything, so I've been moving them around and everything. We will get it working here in a second, but I need to go over the redstone with you. The redstone is going to vary. It's going to be spaghetti all over the place, and it will not be the same for every single amethyst farm that you ever build. You're going to have to arrange them based on where the amethyst is actually growing. And note that not all of these are going to be harvestable. You will see that some of these have already been knocked off. It's fine. I've been tinkering with it and tinkering with it and tinkering with it. Hopefully everything works fine because I haven't tested it with the water down there yet. Hopefully nothing breaks. Better knock on some wood like right now. Anyway, so once the shovels have run out, it is going to deactivate this comparator, which is going to allow this torch to turn back on, which is going to light up this line right here, and we're going to send power all the way out there. I actually realize now that I could probably just pick this up another layer, but it's fine. We'll worry about that in a minute because that's what is going to take care of this block right here. This is what's going to keep the system from breaking whenever there is not any shovels inside of the dropper right there. So anyway, the signal is going to go out here. It's going to go onto this green line, and I kind of wish that I had color coded all of these because it would have saved me a lot of hassle a few times. So it's going to go down this line. We got my little patented version of a circuit that shuts itself off. So it's going to go through here into that comparator, sending its signal forward. Meantime, we got 3 comparators here on a 4-tick delay. It's going to shut off that comparator so the signal doesn't stay on completely. The signal is going to go down through all of this spaghetti redstone right here, which is going to activate this section of flying machines. And oh my gosh, have I rebuilt these a million times. We've probably lost a lot of the amethyst buds in the process, but we did get there eventually. And hopefully it works here in a second when we actually activate that. Anyway, so the flying machines are all going to take off over towards this wall. You will see there's an observer down there. It is going to send a signal through that block over there into these repeaters, which is going to be on a little bit of a delay. And then it's going to go through all of this spaghetti over here. Yes, there's a lot of spaghetti going on. So all of this spaghetti is going to activate all of these flying machines. And these flying machines are going to take off over towards this wall, knocking off any of the amethyst that comes in its way. So once it reaches over here, you're going to see that we have another set of observers there that are going to detect when the flying machines get over here. And it's going to put its signal through this block here into this line going up here towards the top ones. And when it reaches up here, all the top flying machines are going to head to the bottom. And hopefully all the water doesn't break that. Hopefully it just goes flat, because if it breaks, it's going to be a catastrophe yet again. I'm going to have to fix it. Meanwhile, down here we got a hopper timer. Right now I'm only using like half a stack of amethyst shards in there for our timing circuit. Basically all that's going to happen is it's going to activate all of this redstone and everything when it is completely empty. So as soon as this empties out, all of that side is going to tick on, which is going to send our first set of flying machines back to their home base. So once it's over here, you'll see yet again we've got another observer down there. This is the return circuit, and this is why I started wishing I had color coded these, because trying to remember which one's which was driving me absolutely crazy, because I thought I was deactivating one. Turns out I was not deactivating them and breaking the machine constantly. But anyway, it's going to go through this line here. And this line is all attached to this side over here, where the second flying machine came in. And it's going to send it back. So once it gets back over here, you got a little bit more spaghetti going on. There is another observer on the other side of that. This is slightly different. It's putting its signal into this block, which is going to activate the redstone on it, and down this line here, down into here, which is going to power all of the trapdoors down there, which is going to send the vertical flying machine, we'll call this number 3 or vertical, whatever you want, it's going to send this back up. Convoluted? Yeah, believe it. This stuff is like everywhere, but it should work just fine. Now I think I've ironed out all the bugs. I have gone through every possible scenario here as far as like making sure it runs and everything. And I will say this, we need to install some kind of on-off switch on this somehow, because if this thing breaks, good luck. Trying to fix all the flying machines has been what has delayed me and delayed me and delayed me. It is now almost 5 o'clock on Sunday, and I still hadn't even gotten to editing the video yet. I still gotta do all that. That's fun, because I've had to fix this like multiple times because I keep breaking it by accident. So, with that being said, I'm going to grab this guy right here. We're going to simulate this growing on us, and everything should work. I think I've reattached all the wires in the places that they need to. And I did forget about this line here. So this line is actually connected to this circuit, and we've got quite a bit of amethyst shards in here. I went with 64 and 51, like I was saying in the previous section, everything. So this is our reset circuit. This should reset all of these shovels back into the dropper once everything is deactivated. Hopefully that it goes pretty smoothly on that side. We'll check it at the end to make sure. One thing I will say about our on-off switch, like maybe we can quickly make an on-off switch. I do have a few pieces here that we can use to quickly make something that will allow us to turn this stuff on and off. So there you go. That repeater right there is going to send the signal into this block, which is going to go into that redstone right there. So it should activate that redstone and just push on with its signal and everything. So that should work just fine right there. Let's go ahead. Let's do a test run of this. Fingers crossed, because I've been at this all day. I gotta take night vision potion because it is very dark in here. And so we're going to put that. That's going to simulate one. So we got one going on, which is not exactly correct because we're going to break that. No, it is. It's fine. So now we got one and it grew. So everything is going to activate. I was not expecting it to grow just then. So you'll see the flying machine goes off, and as it goes along, it's going to knock off all the shards. So that side went over there. We're waiting for this side. It's going to come through and knock off any shards that were growing on that side. And go into its home. And then finally, we got the top one. It's going to come down. And again, I'm really hoping I didn't fudge something here with the waterways and everything. And that would knock off shards as well. You are going to see that it is going to delay the water a little bit, and hopefully I left it to where it's going to work just fine and I get out of there before I get caught up in the machine. So you saw the first flying machine come back across. Now we're just waiting for the second flying machine to come back across, which it didn't. Why did you not come back across? You pushed out your entire side for some reason. Well, that's just how my day's been going. Why did it do that? Why did it push out all those? This should have gone. I've tested this multiple times, and this is the first time that something like this has happened. So, let's give this a quick, let's just push the button. It's going. And this did the same thing. It did exactly the same thing. That's interesting. And there it goes. It's flying off. All of them are going back up. That's interesting that both of those just kind of pushed their blocks and then that was it. Let's add a little bit of delay there, see if we can get that signal to go a little bit longer. And then I guess down here we need to do the same thing. This is the problem with trying to do stuff like this. And again, I've still got to go and edit this video, so we're still a little ways away from this video coming out, or even being finished editing. All right, so all of our shovels, yes, all of our shovels did go back in there. That is good. At least that worked. So let's take these out. Actually, let's leave 3 of them in there. We're gonna go through. We're gonna do this. We're just gonna simulate all these being grown. Obviously, we can't get all of these. There are going to be some that we are incapable of harvesting. It's just the nature of this. And even in some places, like right here, technically we should be getting 2, but we're only going to get 1 because only 1 can grow there. Just give me a minute and we will get through this all the same. And actually, that should be more than enough. That'll give us an idea of like some of these coming in. So let's go ahead. Let's test all this out again. Everything is returned to where it should be. We're going to place that one there. You're going to see that that's going to kick 1 shovel. We're going to break it. That's going to kick another one. And then we're going to place that and everything should take off. So that one took off there. That's fine. It's breaking its shards. You can see that those are getting collected down at the bottom, which is absolutely wonderful. And I'm wondering if the water down there is what broke the bottom one. And we are seeing that go down there. That was perfectly good. And it's going to block off the water for a second. Yep, there it goes. And then, yep, here comes number 1. And then number 2 should trigger. Yeah, there goes number 2. All of number 2 is coming, so that delay did do us good. And then once that gets home, yep, there comes the vertical. So all we really need was that little bit of delay there. Good. That was actually kind of worrying that I'd missed something there, and apparently I still missed this. Oh right, I can't get that one. I should have gotten here. Oh well. There's like I said, there's always like some that you're not going to be able to collect for whatever reason, and apparently we got a couple of them that I either wasn't able to get early on or some other thing like that. So we can throw that block in there. That should hit right here. I don't see any in the way, so we shouldn't be losing any of our growing spots. I do see this right here. So maybe we can... One thing I am thinking about, we just added this, so there needs to be another hole there. So the only thing to be concerned about is all the holes. I haven't closed this in completely, so yeah, there is going to be some loss because it's going to get flung in directions it shouldn't. And the only way I can really prevent that is just by throwing a whole nother layer here. And then we'll have to do like another set of waterways going this way and be able to keep the water from mixing with that. That's something I'll have to figure out and everything, but you can see that it does work. You will be able to collect stuff like this, and collecting up how you collect it is up to you. I just threw something together because I was like, oh, I've forgotten to include a collection method. But yeah, there we go. I have built the Amethyst shard for the first time ever. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and uh, have fun trying to recreate this. Like I said, this is not going to be a tutorial or anything. I can't show you how to do this. I can show you how to set up the redstone, and it's pretty much just making sure that you're getting signals going in a certain order. So with the flying machines, you need to have them like 1, 2, and 3 send out. So you send out 1, you send out 2, you send out 3, and then when they're returning, 1 needs to return 2, then 3, because of the way that we are tracking the signals and causing all the others to fly. So it's got a sequence, and that sequence needs to be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Otherwise, you break stuff constantly, like I have been doing all day. Anyway, I've got to get to editing this so that you guys get a video this week. I know it's going to be a little bit late. That's just the nature of, work when you have to actually work and not just sit around making videos. So if you guys did enjoy this and you enjoy seeing my redstone, let me know. Leave me a comment, and hopefully we'll get some more videos going, and leave a comment about other redstone contraptions you want to see me make. I need some help with that, generating ideas for content, because apparently, like I said earlier, you guys want to see me do more redstone. So yeah, we'll continue doing redstone as long as you guys keep liking the videos and subscribing. But until next time, guys, be good to each other, and God bless. I'm the Tennis Likens, and subscribe.